Oh boy, it's been hot today, friends, but this is greasy kid stuff compared to what I ran into many, many years ago when I was a Boilermaker. Uh huh. I may have told this story before, but I'll never find it in the what 2 or 3 thousand videos I have. So I may as well just tell it over again. Maybe I'll do a better job of it this time. No, I think I did a pretty good job the first time, if I even did it. But it came to me. I think perhaps the hottest I may have ever been, at least at work. Right. I had this job where I worked for a boiler repair company. We worked on big boilers, not the kind of stuff you see down in your basement, but something you might see in the basement of a skyscraper. Okay, or in the boiler room of a giant factory. There might be one of these babies. This boiler was probably about 3 stories high, probably about 30, 40 feet long, and width, as you looked at the front of it, maybe 20, 25 feet from left to right. And they had just turned it off. It worked. I think this boiler provided steam to a linoleum making process, and it had to run. So the plant was down. They shut off. They pulled everything off their rollers. The boiler was broke. I think they may have had a spare boiler, but they were having trouble with it. So they needed us to get cranking fast. Okay. And it was not going to be an easy job. It was going to take about a week and a half of people screaming, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Done yet? No? Ooh. Just looking in to see if you're done yet." No, we're not done yet. And we even had authorization to do overtime, which was nice. It made the beer taste just that much better at the end of the day, at the end of the shift, actually at the end of the evening. And we got the firebox doors, the doors off the firebox. Now they weren't really doors; they were plugs, metal, and then fire brick. You unscrew the bolts, pull on the fire brick, or on the metal, and the whole darn thing comes out. And it's about the size of a barbecue. Okay, and it comes out. And now you got one access. Okay, and then there's another one on the other side of the burner, and you do the same thing. Pull it out. Now you got two. And what we did was we put fans on it, so at least outside air, or cooler outside air, was going into a boiler that was, trust me, you didn't want to touch anything in there unless you had gloves on and knee pads, because you were going to be coming out going, ouch. And that's all there was to it. If you came out at all. And we drank lots of water, took our, I think, salt pills, and in we climbed. And again, we were covered head to toe with as much leather as we could find. Knee pads, the whole schmeal. In you go. And oh God, it was hot in there. It was probably after a day or so of air blowing into that thing and out and up the chimney. It was still maybe 180 degrees in there. It was hot to the point where our boss, who normally would call anyone who couldn't take the heat, a pansy or something, or worse. And there might be kids listening, so I won't say what he might have called us. But we were in there, basically taking the fire brick that surrounded the heating chamber of this boiler, the fire side of it. We were taking those bricks, breaking them, and throwing them out the door. And we were going to replace with new brick. And they, again, all this time, water is doing its best to cool down the atmosphere, but it was still, oh my God, it was Africa hot. And that's all there is to it. And we did that. That was going to take about 3 days to do, because there was a lot of fire brick. And you could only take so much, and you had to come out. You just plain did. There was no, you You come out one way or the other, head first, or they'd pull you out feet first on a stretcher. It was like that. And eventually we got everything out of there, cleaned down, checked for bad boiler tubes, and found a few we needed, had sent out the order for them. We were going to put them in. Meanwhile, though, we could start putting in fresh fire brick. And every time you put a nice fresh fire brick that was room temperature, it just made the whole thing a little cooler. And eventually, after about a week and a half of putting all that brick in, it weren't too bad inside that firebox. But, woo, I'll tell you, I know I lost 5 to 10 pounds, and I think the fellow I was working with, Jackson, I think he was already pretty skinny, but he lost a good 10 as well. Though we made up for it in drinking beer at the end of the day. But even so, oh my God, so hot. And actually the company, the plant, gave us, if I recall right, they gave us just a little bonus for doing such a fast job. They thought we were okay, and they'd call us again. I remember thinking, don't call us, we'll call you. But no, I'd go back again if I had to. Although now, old as I am, I don't know if I'd make it out of that firebox alive anymore. But that was kind of a young person's job. But oh boy. But they were tickled, and the boss was happy. He gave us a little extra for doing a fast job on it too. And he came down just to make sure we didn't do a crummy job. He came in and climbed inside and looked around and says, "My God, Jackson, you and South here did okay. Good. There'll be a little something in your paycheck, a little something extra." Jackson says, "I just hope it's a 6-pack." I was thinking the same thing, to tell you the truth. But we, in fact, the boss bought us some beer. Come to think of it, not for the ride home, but for the one more night we had to spend before we buttoned things up in the morning and headed home. So, yeah. Now that was one mighty warm day, or week, excuse me. But you get through it. You get through it. Whew. No, we didn't leave anything in the boiler. No, just no. You make sure of that, because I know, like any tool you have, once that fire starts, your tool's gone. Yeah, gone. That's it. And why? How come the tubes don't melt? Because they got water in them. Yeah, the water's cooling them while being turned into steam. The water is also cooling the tubes and the various fire to water surfaces. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you later. Oy. God bless. You see a Boilermaker, you just give them a great big kiss, because they deserve it. Boy, or a handshake at least. Okay, maybe a hug. Okay. We'll see you later. Bye now.